Hello, a warm welcome. Namaste. I'm Jaya Palashri from Samskara Healing. What I'm going to be talking about today, which is in a way very dear to my heart, but at the same time, a conversation that often we want to avoid. Like, we prefer not talking about it, and we just want to keep it away. What is it? What do we keep away? And what is it that we don't like to talk? It's about grief. Grief is something none of us, no matter how difficult it is, we can prepare ourselves for it. We may say that it's inevitable, death is there, you have to face it. But today, we are getting so many calls, we are getting so many people coming to us, people who we know. This minute they are there, and next minute we don't have them with us. We don't even have time to say goodbyes. We don't even have time to, say what we want to say to them, and they're gone. How do we deal with this? Are we prepared? Can we ever be prepared? It's the biggest question. We can never be prepared. See, either you could be the one facing the grief and dealing with it because you've lost a loved one. You could be a person who's going to support somebody who's with grief. Can you deal with it? You can't. So what do? If we go as a person to support somebody who's grieving, what do? We go there and we say all the wrong statements because we are not ready to address what's actually there. So we may say like, don't worry, time is there, time will heal, or you will be okay, everything is okay. For the person who's crying, everything is not okay. They've lost a loved one. You can't go to them and say, oh, don't worry, everything is okay and they're going to be fine. How do you know it's going to be fine? Maybe for them the world has fallen and it's like the end for them. So that's not what you should be saying. When you don't know what to say, the best thing that you can do is don't say anything. Just stay silent. That's the best thing you can do. By not trying to say, by avoiding saying the wrong, at least you are saying, you're showing your support and strength by just being there for the person. That is one point, and I wanted to share this and I shared it. My next point is the one dealing with the grief. First and foremost, you are never prepared to face death, no matter what happens. So what do? Instantly, you get into a state of shock and denial. And you keep looking, saying, really? Why me? Why did it happen to me? What did I do wrong? And those kind of things come to you. So you go through the phase of shock and denial. And that is like the first state. So many people are stuck in that state for a very long time. And as you go through shock and denial, the next thing that comes to you is pain and guilt. Especially for those who are not with their loved one at the moment of the death. The guilt that they carry is so much that dealing with it later is very painful. So the pain and guilt is something each and every one of us deal with it. But it's a phase and you have to go with it. Do not think that you can rush it or hush it or push it away. Or you may feel, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have stayed more. I wish I could have said I love you. I wish I could have asked forgiveness. There can be many things. So the wishes remain as wishes. So the guilt is going to be there for some time. I will come to the point of how to deal with it. Now you have your shock and denial. You have your guilt and pain. What happens next? Then comes the anger and bargaining, where you're saying, how I wish I had some more time. I wish I could have, spent this much more time with them. And then there's an anger with whatever that has happened as to why it's happened for you and how you could have avoided it and things like that. So there could be points of anger and frustration and bargaining, which comes up. Then comes the point that you've gone to the peak of anger and everything, and then you start dropping down, and then you come to the point of depression because suddenly what you call your safe home is no more the way it is. Everything is changed. So you fall into the point of having a depression, which is pretty common. As you start falling into the state of depression, there comes the thing upward trend where you start moving up. And then comes the point where you're reconstructing your life and setting things to move forward. And then you come to the point of acceptance. Normally, for a person who's lost a loved one, it takes a minimum of 6 months to a year to grieve. Anything lesser than that is never advisable. Anything more than that can become very toxic and needs to be looked into. Because what happens when you start grieving? When you start grieving, there is an inflammation within your body, and that could lead to various complications and issues. So grieving is a process, and it's a natural process. Nature has its way. If nature has taken somebody from you, nature knows it. So nature also will show you a way where you can heal yourself. Having said that, it's a gradual process which you go through, and this just doesn't happen to us as humans. We can express ourselves. This grieving process happens in animals too. It also happens in plants. If you actually study plants in a shamanic way and you look at it, they support each other. When there is like a plant is dying or it doesn't have the kind of required nutrients, the other plants and trees around connect and start giving it the kind of life support. So this happens with all living things. Grieving is a very natural process. So nature is very much aware when you grieve that you're grieving. Allow the grieving process to go naturally. Go through the phases, accept your emotions. Don't try to show. And one more point. People think that when you don't cry, you're very strong. That is not true. You cry, you're strong. It's good to cry because the more you're going to cry, the more you're going to heal. So it's good to cry. Do not stop yourself from crying. And do not think that you have to, if people are coming to give you condolence or people are coming to support you, you have to sit and hold a strong face and say, I'm strong, I can live through it. Good, you are strong, but it's okay to cry, because the more you cry, the better you heal. So it's a process. Allow it to flow beautifully. And I know the word beautiful is not apt for grieving, but I'm talking about beautifully to let things happen in a systematic manner. So yes, we're speaking about all these things now. Grieving leaves a lot of pain, suffering within us. When you're stuck and you're not able to step out of it, it's been a year, you're not able to express yourself, please start seeking help. You very much need it. This is a big taboo in our society, unfortunately. Going to a counselor and going to a healer is a big no-no. Please go. It's needed. It's as good as going to a doctor or going to your lawyer or going to your priest in a temple. These people hold the same position. It so happens that healers and counselors originated and started from our country. India is rich in tradition. The West have incorporated it and they're living with it today. And everybody have a healer, they have a shaman, they have a counselor. But here we shy away from these terminologies. And the minute somebody says you have to go to a counselor, oh my God, something is wrong with that person. He or she is going to a counselor, she's taking help. That means something is wrong mentally to her. A lot of those things come and people get really worried. There's nothing wrong. Going to a counselor is not a taboo. Going to a healer is not a taboo. If you go to a counselor, the counselor is ready to hear you out, because time and again you're going to be crying and saying the same things. Sometimes maybe your family members may say, enough, it's time you move forward. But a counselor would never say that. A counselor would hear you out, and you very much need that. You need a healer, because if you're unable to release the grief by yourself, a healer is specifically like a shaman. If you're unable to release the grief by yourself, if you're unable to move forward, he or she, the shaman, would help you step out of that zone back to your normalcy, which is very much needed if you're not able to get out of it in the 6 to 1 year period. Other than that, what else can you do to move forward? Join meditation. It really helps you to kind of connect back to yourself. Get into support groups. There are many support groups available online today. Spend time in nature. It's kind of the best therapy anywhere in the world. Next, look at going for walks in nature, like walking bare feet to ground yourself, to help yourself heal. Take a change of environment. It's the best thing to be doing is take a shift of place and bring about the healing to yourself. Talk about it, express yourself, especially if you find it difficult to communicate to your family, communicate to your loved ones. Look at going to friends, look at going to outsiders, but communicate and express yourself, that you are able to say what is wrong and what you need to do about it. So these are some things that you could do. You could listen to music, you could build a new hobby, you could look at how to come to the point of acceptance. So acceptance is very much needed. When you don't have acceptance for grief, you hold on to the grief that much more longer, and you're not able to, you stay in the state of denial, and you're not able to move forward, and that becomes dangerous, which brings a lot of health issues and chaos into your life. So avoid that. So in case if you are a person going through grief, please use these tips and do let me know how it worked for you. In case if you are one of those who are supporting somebody who's going with grief, take your time to be compassionate and loving. Do not work from the point of sympathy. Work from the point of being an empathetic person and an empath, showing them that you truly understand what they're going through, and your silence can speak volumes. So allow your silence to communicate what you want to communicate, and what that person needs is a strong pillar of support at that moment and nothing more. So those are some of the things. The other things which is very dear to me and which I truly and strongly believe in and recommend are crystals. So if you're really going through a grieving phase and you really don't know what to do with it, there's something called Apache Tear crystal, which is like, it's an obsidian, which is very good. The bracelet, I don't have it with me, and because of lockdown situation, I'm not been able to source any new crystals of late. That is very good for a person who's in the stage of grieving and things like that. Other than that, the other crystals I would recommend is, one is black tourmaline, to calm you down completely and bring you emotionally grounded. You have crystals like amethyst, which is excellent to calm your mind down. Clear quartz, which will also calm your mind and stress you, like bring the stress down. The other one which is really excellent is, this is called smoky quartz. It really helps you to ground. I don't know whether you can see the actual color. Yeah, it is a brownish grayish kind of a thing. It's called smoky quartz, and this really helps you ground yourself, because grounding yourself is very important when you're grieving, so that you can, when you're grieving, you can actually go blank, you can go numb. The pain is so much that you do not want to feel anything around you, so you just shut everything. So at a time like that, there's an upheaval of emotion and your thinking just ceases. So at a time like that, wearing a crystal like smoky quartz or a black tourmaline or an amethyst immediately calms you down. Now obviously, if you're in that moment of grief, you cannot run and pick up a crystal and wear. It's not going to happen. It's all practical reasons. But after that, get back into trying to source a crystal. Even rose quartz, it's excellent to wear. So you could wear rose quartz, I repeat, rose quartz, clear quartz, amethyst, black tourmaline, or smoky quartz. All these will work really good for you if you want to wear them. And I personally use them. Like for example, I was a little anxious about something today, and I really didn't know how to ground myself, and intuitively I took out my black bracelet and I wore it, and within an hour I'd completely even forgotten my issue, and I was completely back to being my grounded self, and I sorted out the whole thing with complete clarity of mind and thought. So this is the power of crystals, and this is what I recommend. And another thing what you could do is go about your rituals. Sometimes we shy away from rituals and we don't want to get into doing things. Please avoid that. Please go about doing your rituals and going about your regular routine, and that will really help you. And having said all this, I thank you all. I end this with this. Please do put your review in the comment section, and I would love to hear from you all. Thank you so much. I wish you all well. Stay safe, stay happy. Blessings, love and light. Thank you.